with Bob the Sign Man. Oh yeah!
Hello everybody, welcome to this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. So today I'm going to show you our finished box that we put on. We had a 36-inch box. It was a little too small for the new Milwaukee MX Fuel electric jackhammer that we use now to drive in our anchors. So let me show you what we had to do to modify this box a little bit and get it fit on the truck. Okay, so here's the box that we bought. We got it from Home Depot. I think it's called Buyers or something like that is the brand. And it's 48 inches long, 18 inches high, and 24 inches deep. The jackhammer, however, is a little bit over 25 inches, so it wouldn't quite fit in there. So what we did, we went with the barn doors to start with, and this is what they refer to barn doors, because they open like barn doors. Versus having one that flips down because it sticks out this far, and then you're trying to, lift it over, and you have the hardware that with the handle that spins. And the old punch jar was getting caught on it, and it was just getting old, like everything else is, including myself. And this was our old box that we had. It's 24 by 18 by 18. And the new hammer just would not fit in it. It's the old barn door style. And what happened over the years, puts the machine in and out, it bends the levers that open and close. So that's another reason to go with the barn door for that type of deal. But that thing has served its purpose. It's been on the truck probably close to 10 years. And so here's our jackhammer at 48 inches long. The jackhammer itself measures about, with this bail open, about 36 inches. Okay. And then what we did is we put these foam pads down. I'll show you what we did. So now getting the jackhammer in and out is no problem. You can just pull it, and it's got a little handle under here. And it just comes out easy, and it goes back in even easier. The modifications we had to do this box was pretty simple. I'll kind of show you a little bit what we did. Okay, I have a piece of foam in here. Pull that out. What we had to do, since the jackhammer won't fit in here all the way because of the fact that it's from end to end is wider than the box, we cut a hole in the back, and we had one of our suppliers make another box for us. It's recessed in there, it's made out of aluminum. We cut a hole in the back of the box. And then what we did is we pop riveted in, silicone it, pop riveted in. Now that gives us a little extra room for the handle to fit in there. And what I did is I took one of these pads that we're using, these Husky pads. Okay. We laid 3 of them down, and then I glued one of them to the top so it doesn't fall. So that way the hammer is protected with foam here. Got foam up top, and I cut down one of the pads. I kind of cut it in half. As you can see, that little mark there where the handle will go sometimes, and it just fits right in that box pretty snug. And if it gets to be a problem, I'll probably glue it in. So anyways, that gives the hammer some room. And then on the door, we glued this in and cut it out just a little bit. So the hammer now fits in there snug, and it's not going to be bouncing around, back and forth, hitting on the metal. And the reason we put it in this way, well, you have the handle here. And since both of us are right-handed, it's just easier. Plus the trigger is here. Okay, that's the trigger for the jackhammer. And we didn't want the trigger inside the box to try, in case it caused any movement in there, but it's pretty secure now. It doesn't move anywhere. We've been watching it for a while now since we've had the box installed. And now it's real simple to get the hammer into the box because you don't have that shelf sticking out here where you'd have to lift over, set it on the lid, move it in. So now it's just a smooth transition. It just goes right in, set it on the pads, and we just slide it into place with the top of it resting on here. So when your trigger's here at the handle, we don't have to worry about the handle vibrating on anything. It'll fit right in that recess with the foam rubber. Okay, it does allow us a little extra room. We have this toolbox in here. We cut the lid of it off. And we keep our grinder, and we also keep a cordless. We also keep a cordless hammer drill in here. And then in here, there was a little bit of gap, probably about that much, and I thought, well, I'll cut a piece of foam and put in there so these don't move around, but they really don't move around. So it allows us to carry this with us also. It fits in the Milwaukee hammer that we're using, the MX hammer, and sometimes some of the anchors are all cemented in. You know, whether it was a contractor who put one in with a new install on a new road, not a new road, but a repaved road and stuff. Sometimes they'll replace or add a few signs that the engineer wanted, and we have to pull out some of the signs sometimes that are in cement, or a car will pull them out for us by hitting it and just jack it all up. Anyway, so that gives us a little extra room for there if we have to put an extra backpack or a lunch box in here when it's raining, and we got all kinds of gear in the truck. We're all set to go. So then after we have our hammer in, it's real simple. We just close the doors. That little cutout fits right into the handle. And there we go. Okay, one of the disadvantages to the Milwaukee MX Fuel hammer, there's not many disadvantages. I'd say so far we've only found one disadvantage, and the rest of them are all definitely all pros, one con. We drive these anchors in the ground, no problem. We use this type, it's for the Telspar post. It's got what they call a bird's mouth. It's really kind of an aggressive point. And they're solid all the way up to the top where it has on the 4 holes where you can put in corner bolts or rivet. And you can drill out more if you want. The advantage to that is if they do get cemented in, and sometimes, you know, dirt gets in there after time, you know, after it rains, it gets muddy, and they're hard to pull back out. So this is the bit that fits into the Milwaukee hammer, and will fit into the top of the Telspar post. It just drives it in the ground. It's pretty heavy. We carry the hammer out to where we're going to install the sign, and then I usually carry this out there with this. It's probably about 15-20 pounds. It's pretty heavy. So like I said, one of the cons is we never can drill into concrete with the MX Fuel hammer. That's the only con that we have so far. Everything else is fine. But what we do is we have this down here. There's a suitcase generator, a little Honda suitcase generator. They call it a suitcase. It's got a handle. You carry it like a suitcase. And we have a bigger electric rotor hammer that can drill out. So with that rotor hammer, we can get into concrete if we have to. We have this bit that fits in our rotor hammer, and it's about a 2-inch round. What is this thing? It's a little bit bigger. Well, actually, it's 3.5, which gives us plenty of room to get the anchor in if we have to put any cement in there or anything like that. And we also have a 2-inch that will, it doesn't quite fit in there, but we have used the 2-inch just to kind of like a pilot hole, and then we'll finish it off with the 3-inch, and that way we can get even those bigger solid anchors in there if we have to. But like I said, or like I will say, we don't have many in concrete, so that's really not a factor. And with that little electric rotor hammer that we have, we can install these plates on top of concrete if we want, which is a pretty good deal because, you know, if you install your anchors into concrete and somebody hits them, you know, sometimes it'll tweak the top and you can't get the post out. You know, it's just a real problem, depending on how they have it bent over too far. So what we got was these 4" by 3/8 lag bolts. And the base sits on top of the concrete. It's got the holes in there. These don't quite fit in there, so we drill them out a little bit out in the field. We carry drills with this. And then we can mount them, and then we just mount these into the concrete. And you think, well, you know, that's extra work to do, or we just have some cities, you know, do a lot of cement work where they have to bore into the cement. So they want to use the punjar or the Cobra Combi, what they call it. Like I said, we're set up. We do very, very few. So if we do, we use this, and we'll use the suitcase generator and the rotor hammer to drill in, you know, with every bit we need to drill in. So there's kind of like the con. You know, we have to carry extra equipment with this. We don't always have the generator with us and the rotor hammer, because we know when we're going to go out and do concrete work, and if we have a sign that's damaged in the concrete, well, hopefully we know about it ahead of time, but we don't have any stop signs, warning signs. Let's see, I don't think we have any stop signs in concrete, so it's usually not a major deal, and usually if we have to, we can return back to the shop and then be back on the scene at the same day. But that's only happened in a rare occasion, maybe only once or twice ever in 12 years I've been doing this. So, more than that actually. So that's kind of our setup. I'll show you the old punjar. So this was the old punjar. I'm not quite sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but it's a punjar. It's pretty old. They're made, I believe they're made in Sweden, and what it is has a handle here, and it's supposed to be, you can put a long drill bit on it, you can drill into a rock or something if you need to, you know, drill a rock in a couple places, or, you know, miners use it, you know, you can drill a hole, put in your explosive in the hole and blow up the rock or whatever you want to do. It does have a bit that goes in to drive the anchors in the ground. Not many pros with this, full of cons. You have to carry gas and oil with you. With our electric Milwaukee MX Fuel Hammer, we carry it comes with a battery. We bought an extra battery. It's a pretty good sized battery. It's like $650 for the battery. We got the Jackhammer when it was kind of like, it was a reduced price. I think they're $2,800 now. We got it at $25, but that's not what we waited for the price to come down. It just happened when we bought it. These are going to run you into the several thousand, you know, the Cobra Combis and stuff, anywheres, punjars, if you can even find them anymore. You're talking probably $4,500 to $6,500 for the Cobra Combi, or it's the punjar or the Cobra Combi, which is this kind of, I don't even know if it's step up, step down. The Cobra Combi, I've heard a lot of bad things about them. You got to carry the fuel, and then you have, they don't run right, you know. This thing here is so temperamental. It vibrates itself to death. Sometimes the exhaust comes off, and we have to pull the whole bottom off to get to the bolts in there. So one thing I forgot to mention on the punjar, the vibration, it's almost like using a jackhammer. It just vibrates your whole, it goes through your whole body, your arms, your upper chest. You can just feel the vibration. With the MX Fuel Hammer, that vibration is virtually gone. The machine does all absorbs all the shock. So you have, when you're holding onto it and you're driving it in, you really can't even hardly feel it. It doesn't even feel like you're using a jackhammer. And you look down and you think, well, this thing's not working. And you look down and there goes the anchor in the ground. So it's been really, really good, especially when you people get a little older. It's not so hard on your body. I feel like I can go another 10 years now. So the old dog here just turned 66 a couple weeks ago. So, you know, I got a few more years left in me. I love what I'm doing. It's not even like you have a job, you know. It's just like going to going to high school and playing in graphic arts all day long, you know, designing the signs, go out and install them, you know, going on a field trip and everything. So it's been a lot of fun here. It's not a lot of pressure. Like I said, I just kind of like what I'm doing. I'm born and raised here in the Napa Valley, so it's pretty hard to give it up right now and just be retired and then just what am I going to do? You know, I was going to continue on with Bob the Sign Man somehow, you know, on my video channel. But anyways, just thought I'd throw that in about the shock that the thing absorbs. It's the pull cord comes off all the time. It doesn't really idle very good. You always have to feather the idle. It's almost like you need two guys, one guy to hold it and the other guy to operate the throttle. Hard to start sometimes. Sometimes all of a sudden, for some reason, who knows, gas just starts pouring, dripping out of the thing. I don't know where it comes from. Pull the spark plug out, gas just pours out. You pull the handle and it just spits gas out. You gotta empty the fuel all the time if you're not gonna use it. The cord breaks, you know, because it gets full of oil and gas and it just disintegrates the pull cord. The spring, you have to pull this off sometimes to get the cord in. You get that big spring pop out. It's just a wreck. There's very few people that even know how to work on these. The last guy I know was in Southern California, I believe, and I don't know if he's still there anymore, if he does this anymore. But you know, if you go to ship it somewhere to have somebody work on it, you know, you're going to spend, you know, $600-800 on freight to ship it there and bring it back. So with the Milwaukee MX hammer, not that I'm just so happy with it because it's just consistent. It just works. You know, we carry an extra battery. I think with the battery, we could probably put in a dozen signs. We could probably put in 20, maybe even more, maybe a couple dozen, you know, 25, maybe, depending on the soil condition. You know, sometimes this thing won't go through a rock. The Milwaukee hammer won't go through a rock, but if the soil conditions are favorable, it just goes right in with no problem. So there's a little modifications we've done on our box to make it fit. All right, so there we go. There's the modifications we made on our box to make it fit. Got the hammer in there. Pretty happy about that now. Got a little extra room. No more gas and oil to carry with us and stuff. So, you know, times change, things evolve. You know, new technology gets out. The old dog here has to keep up with it. When that happens, I'll pass it on to you guys, and that's right. You need a little tip, trick, or something you need done, let me know. Maybe I can make a video on it. But anyways, thanks for turning to the Sign Man. As always, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. To learn more about where the Sign Man gets his materials, check out www.bobthesignman.com. Bob the Sign Man films, directs and produces all his videos in the beautiful Napa Valley. As always, thanks for watching.